They came in from mental institutions, drug dealers. They came in from all over the place, and we don't have that anymore. This country is becoming we're a very strong country. Look, financially speaking, I would say that because of the tariffs, because of the election, because of the policy, because of the great, big, beautiful deal, it's what I added the word great because it really is. It's the biggest bill ever passed in the history of our country. We don't need another bill. It's the biggest tax cuts, I mean, when you think no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime for the people. But far beyond that, what it does is incentivizes auto plants and AI and all of the things that nobody's ever passed a bill like it. We don't need another bill. We don't need any more bills. I said, let's get it all at once. I was greatly helped by our Speaker, Mike Johnson, and by the Senate. I'll tell you what, John Thune's been, both of those guys have been incredible. And we got a bill passed that I said, let's see if we can get it all done, because these Democrats are like insurrectionists, okay? They're so bad for our country. Their policy is so bad for our country. I said, let's see if we can get it all done and everybody said it's not doable, because it's the biggest bill ever passed in the history of our country. And we got it all done. We don't need anything else. We got everything we want. And now, because of that, that's a big reason why the companies are coming in. You know, 1 year depreciation, 1 year write-off, 1 year expensing. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. So they're coming in from all over the world. But to have a great country, you can't have crime. And we don't have crime, but we have cities where there's tremendous crime. And Chicago's one of them. And if the governor can't straighten it out, we'll straighten it out. Thank you. A question for the president.
Do you remain committed to?
Mr. Prime Minister, I'd like to know how come the UK and the European Union have succeeded to sign deals and bring the tariffs down, and Canada still hasn't been able to do the same?
Yeah, because they're not located right next to each other. It makes it. In many cases, it's much better and easier. But
yeah, and if I may, let's be clear about the relationship as it stands right now. We are the second largest trading partner of the United States. We do a lot of trade going across the border where we're cooperating, first thing. Secondly, we are the largest foreign investor in the United States. $500 billion in the last 5 years alone, probably $8 trillion in the next 5 years if we get the agreement that we expect to get. Thirdly, there are areas, as the President just said, where conflict, maybe not so much conflict, we compete. There are areas where we compete, and it's in those areas where we have to come to an agreement that works. But there are more areas where we are stronger together, and that's what we're focused on. And we're going to get the right deal for America, right deal, obviously, from my perspective, for Canada.
Including one thing that, wait. So one thing where we are working very closely is the Golden Dome. That's the protective mechanism, and you see how that works. It's unbelievable. Ronald Reagan wanted to have it, and at that time they didn't have the technology, even close to the technology, but he was advanced, and we'll be working together on a Golden Dome for the two countries, and it's something that I think is going to be very important, especially when you look at the world, you look at what's happening. We want to have that protection. It's really amazing. The technology is unbelievable.
Why do you say some federal workers should not get their back pay? Why do you say some?
Well, you're going to have to figure that out, okay? Ask the Democrats that question.
Go ahead.
Mr. President, just to follow up there, I mean, the law says that when the government is reopened, that workers will receive their back pay. So are you going to define the law there, or what do you?
I follow the law, and what the law says is correct, and I follow the law.
Mr. President, will Canada be leaving empty-handed, or will Mr. Carney be leaving Washington with a deal on tariffs?
I think they're going to be very happy. We have a lot of things that we're working on that people don't talk about. They talk about, competitiveness. She's a very competitive person. And they talk about things that we don't necessarily agree on. But I think they're going to walk away very happy. I think so.
On all your trade deals that you've signed, there's been a
minimum tariff that countries have got. When the USMCA gets renegotiated, do you want a minimum tariff on goods between Canada and the US?
Well, we're going to have tariffs between Canada, and, you know, they have them with us. I will say with our farmers, as you know, they went up to as much as 400%, 250, 300, and even one at 401. We found one having to do with a very small product, but it was high.
But you
So
want
we've
minimum
had,
tariffs with Canada?
so, you know, we've always had tariffs between the two of us, and actually Canada was charging us very high tariffs on our agricultural things, a lot of our agricultural product, and that's one of the things that we talk about for bringing that down. So, you know, this is a mutual thing, but we've been charged tariffs. Look, we're the king of being screwed by tariffs, just so you understand. And I'm not talking about with Canada. I'm talking about with countries all over the world. When you look at Europe, when you look at China, when you look at all of the, almost every country charged the U.S., we didn't charge them. Because we were led by stupid people in many cases. Stupid people. They took advantage of our country. They're not taking advantage of us anymore. You know, if you looked at European Union, they're all my friends. I don't blame them. I blame our presidents. I blame our past presidents and, you know, business leaders. But we are the king of countries that have been taken advantage of for many, many years. We've been paying trillions and trillions of dollars and receiving nothing at all. As an example, prior to the deal with Europe, where they pay a lot of money, but they're happy and I'm happy. The deal was good. It's a fair deal, but it wasn't fair. You couldn't put a car into Europe. You couldn't sell your agriculture into Europe. You couldn't do anything. And now we have it so that it's open. We charge them tariffs. We didn't charge them tariffs a car. They charge us tremendous. I said to Angela Merkel once, I said, how many cars have gone to Germany from the United States? And she said, well, I don't believe any. And I said, you're right. You're right. Well, that doesn't happen anymore. And they're paying a fair amount. It's just a fair amount. It's not, I could ask for much more. It's a fair amount. But the United States now is using the same thing that they've used on us. And I just can't believe it's taken presidents so long to do this. And again, we're going to treat people fairly. We're going to especially treat Canada fairly. But I can't believe it's taken so long where we get charged and don't charge them. Japan was a good example. We made a deal with Japan. You saw that, Mark. A deal with Japan. It's a much different deal than we've had in the past. But they would send us millions of cars, no charge. We weren't allowed to send them cars. We sent them no cars. I doubt you had one car go into Japan because we were restricted. They didn't want our cars. Same thing with Europe. Same thing with other places. So now all we do now is fairness. But fairness leads us to the most successful country there's ever been. You know, we have some advantages over other countries, and we do have a great market. We have an amazing market. But you know what? If I let this go, if we didn't win this election, if we had these people that were running, that were ruining our country, destroying our country with their open borders and men playing in women's sports and transgender from everybody and windmills all over the place, if we allowed that to go on for another couple of years, we would be, I'm not sure that we'd even have a country. Yeah, Brian. And by the way, I'm not sure we would have even had a country. And now we have the most successful country in the world. Brian?
Yes, sir. What is your message to Democrats ahead of a next vote to open up the government? The American people are saying, open the damn government. What's your message to them right now?
Well, they're the ones that started it. They're the ones that have it. And it's almost like a kamikaze attack by them. You want to know the truth? This is like a kamikaze attack. They almost, you know, they have nothing to lose. They've lost the elections. They've lost the presidential election in a landslide. I saw the other day where Kamala said, this was a very close election. This was one of the biggest sweeps that anybody's ever had. Won the popular vote by millions, won the Electoral College by a massive amount. They said, if I got 270, that would be great. But I got, I think, 312 or 315, and they got 220. So, you know, we won that. But we won counties. The big thing is counties. So out of all of the counties, thousands and thousands, we got 2,500 They got 525. It was a landslide, and we listened, oh, yes, it was close. It was one of the greatest victories ever, and it was a mandate to do what we're doing. And I hope, and Mark wants this as much as I do, we are very close to making a deal on the Middle East that will bring peace to the Middle East. After all of these years of millions and millions, tens of millions of people being killed, there's a chance to bring peace to the Middle East. In addition to that, I made 7 other deals, and they're, great. And we're, things are happening with respect to Russia, Ukraine. That's one that last week, Mark, 7,812 people were killed. Soldiers, mostly soldiers. Yep. But 7,000, more than 7,000, almost 8,000 soldiers were killed. It's a crazy thing. I thought that would have been one of the easy ones. I get along very well with Putin, and I thought that would have been, I'm very disappointed in him because I thought this would have been an easy one to settle, but it's turned out to be maybe tougher than the Middle East. We'll see what happens with the Middle East. The Middle East. I think go ahead, behind, yes.